95% of people who want to quit don't do it, can't do it. I read different statistics, 95, 97, something like this. Huge percentage. Why? I don't think it's only because of the physiological dependence. It's also because the great deal of the psychological dependence. And now we're talking about the problem of dependence. The core of dependence is the psychological dependence. So the cigarette acts like a friend. When you're sad, you say, "Oh, let me smoke. I'm bummed out. My girlfriend dumped me. Let me smoke a cigarette to make me feel good."
That works.
It doesn't work, but that's what we try.
Well, it does if you're in a whole lot of pain. Let's say somebody broke your heart. At 1 minute, it feels like it does.
1 minute.
Yes.
Or I just got my English tests and I got an A in English. Let's celebrate. So the cigarette acts like a friend, but a fictitious friend. A friend which stabs you in the back, right? It pretends to be a friend. Let's celebrate. I will soothe your sorrow, but then, you know, because every puff, every puff you take puts, I read different accounts, anywhere from 400 to 4,000 different kinds of poisons in your blood, you know? It's no good. This is no good of a friend. But it acts like that. Okay, so that's one aspect. So, psychological dependence. So when I'm sad, I try to... The key is understanding. If you're dependent on anything, and if you don't understand the dependence, it will have power, right? It will drive you. And if you try to fight it, it will not work either.
So what do I do?
Well, why is it that it will not work? Why does fight not work? Because in that fight you lose energy and you become weaker. And then the cigarette wins because you just got weaker by fighting it. There are statistics on this.
Okay.
Most people breathe too shallow. We need to breathe like our systems were designed to do. So we get enough oxygen to all of our organs and so on. And the key is exhale, because the inhale comes automatically. It's like a vacuum. You make an exhale, you create a vacuum, and then you don't have to make an effort to make an inhale. When you make the exhale, then you let it go and you inhale naturally. Anyway, beside from the point.
I will come out as a Buddhist monk out of this conversation, I guess.
Well, I'm not a Buddhist, so. Look, the thing is this, the key to change is understanding. You asked, how do I change? So when you fight with the cigarette, you get into a conflict. Now this applies for everything, every kind of a psychological matter, even physiological, it seems. Even it applies to the laws of physics. So when the difference becomes between what you are and what you think you should be. You're a smoker, you don't think you should smoke, and then you get into a fight with yourself, and you really, how many smokers can I tell you about who destroyed packs of cigarettes, flushed them down the toilet, and went and bought some more the next day, or in the middle of the night? What does this tell you? Conflict, right? Conflict between what I am and what I should be.
You smoke?
So you lose energy by fighting it, and so the key to change is not to fight it. So what do you do? What can you do to change? If you try to be what you're not, which is you're a smoker, you try to be a non-smoker.
That's a good point.
It doesn't work.
Try to be what you are, what you want to be. No, try to be what you are.
Not even try, because what you are, you don't have to try. You just are what you are.
That's my point.
But try to understand and see what you are.
Yeah, but if you find out that you are a piece of crap, that you are an addict.
But piece of crap is a judgment.
Yeah, it is. But basically,
But if you judge it, you cannot see it. That's the thing. Another thing is, one of the main characteristics of addiction, which I've seen, is that the mind plays a trick on itself in order to sustain the addiction. And that trick is time, is psychological time. It thinks that it will change in the future.
Yes.
And that future...
Telling yourself, I still have a few years before I have to stop smoking.
Years. If you're a woman, you say, I will do it when I'm pregnant. If you're a student, you will say, I will do it when I graduate. Whatever it is, you bring some sort of a deferral into the future. And when you do that, what happens? You're left alone with the addiction. You're like, oh great, I'm left, I can leave me alone, I'm fine now, later, postpone. So this is a trick of the mind. This is a trap, which we can call psychological time. thinking you will change in time. But the fact of the matter is, you will be in the future what you are now. The fact of the matter is, you will be in the future what you are now unless you change in some now. That change has to take place in some now. So what happens when we see this? When the mind realizes it's playing a trick on itself, then the future is taken away. That graduation, quitting after graduation is no more an excuse. These are all excuses. And I swear, you go talk to 10, 30 smokers and you ask them, why do you smoke? And do you want to stop? Every single one will give you some excuses. And I've done this actually, I've done some surveys. And there are some very prevalent excuses. Like, other people drink, I smoke. Everybody's got a vice, mine is this. Or I will quit when there's always excuse, deferral in the future.
All the stuff that I brought up today, yeah.
Also, it's my personality. You know, I'm addicted to or my life is too complex. These kids here at the Cantonal School who are going through hell, you know, they're studying 15 topics or God knows what. They say, you know, I'm under a lot of stress, so I smoke. Does it really help though? It helps for a minute, but not really. So anyway, back to the important thing. I think
it helps.
You said that how do we change? And we said that we cannot change by control.
You said that.
I said.
Okay.
Or I suggested.
Okay.
Controlling is not going to bring change. Fighting is not going to bring change. Because when you fight, you lose energy.
So how do you do it?
When you control, the controller is the controlled. But when you control, the controller separates itself from the controlled. And there comes a division. And whenever there is a division, there's a loss of energy. There's friction, conflict. So yeah, how do you change them? So the key to change is understanding what is.
Which is
seeing what is, whatever it is. Seeing the actuality of the matter, seeing the fact. But the key word there is seeing.
Alright, so...
And seeing, just so, then seeing is an art. If you see and you judge it,
you're not allowed to judge.
Not that you're not allowed, but to see that if you see something and you immediately judge it as good or bad, then you're not really letting it tell its story. You're not really seeing it. So you face the fact.
Okay.
And then what happens? When you face the fact, then that seeing itself, the mind sees what the mind, the heart, the body, into your being, you see what is. Now, then a natural law kicks in.
It does.
It can.
And it solves all my problems.
It can. Not all your problems, but often it solves that problem.
All right.
It may or may not. I'm not guaranteeing it, but when you see something, then some change can come naturally, just out of that seeing. So to have the space is important. And that space sometimes comes from that act of emptying, which is writing or talking, or sometimes just seeing. You just allow the thing to flower. You have a problem, you just ask yourself.
You keep repeating, seeing.
Or observing. Or understanding.
It's like supposed to...
It's not some sort of esoteric thing. It's as simple as this. You're walking down the street, there's something wrong.
You're not trying to hypnotize me.
Not at all.
Because you keep saying, seeing.
No, I'll change the word. I use a different word.
Alright. Because I'm just about half hypnotized.
Look, if you have a problem and you just ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Or what's wrong? Then you see the cause of what's wrong. Then you can see it. And then when you see that,
you do use the word.
When you observe it, when you hear it,
it's a good word. It sinks in.
Then it just brings some change. When you see that your body is anxious, just that seeing sometimes just relaxes you. Just by paying attention. Attention. Because a lot of our problems is because of tension. Anyway, but when you pay attention to tension, then tension is often released. So attention is very powerful.
So we'll be talking 25 minutes or something, half an hour. I feel better already. But you hypnotized me, right?
No, I did not.
Well, you did not.
Not at all.
All the things you said were right.